What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, the Ol Drunken Geek again, and today I want to do a little fun video about my favorite thing in life, man, Star Wars, about the wars. Let's get into it. Apparently there was an Obi-Wan movie coming out, then there wasn't, now there is. Who knows? The Star Wars franchise as a whole is in complete disarray because, Last Jedi was so divisive and Han Solo tanked in the box office. So, news came out that all the spin-offs were going to be canceled. And then Lucasfilm came out and like, whoa. We ain't said that. We ain't said the other thing, but we ain't said the thing about the that. So at this point, we don't know what's coming out. Supposedly, I guess Obi-Wan is still in production, but not fully kicked off. Who knows? But in my personal, humble Star Wars fan opinion, this would be a anthology movie that I would be for. If we were to have one more anthology movie, which we don't need, to be honest. I didn't need to see how we got the plans for destroying the Death Star in Rogue One. I didn't need to see how Han Solo got his name in his blaster. Those movies are cool. Don't get me wrong. Those movies are pretty cool. I did like Rogue One and I did like Solo Star Wars Story. They were cool, but they weren't necessary. And I don't think an Obi-Wan story is necessary either. But it would be kind of cool to watch, to be honest. And it would obviously come out after Episode 9. Because Episode 9 is coming out 2019. And we don't know exactly which way they're going to go moving forward. They're probably waiting to see. So, how Episode 9 does and stuff like that. To see if they need to make any course corrections. Which at this point, their course corrections are starting to look a lot like the DC Universe's course corrections. And I hope that doesn't happen because, we saw how the DC ended up. It's like, oh, they want this. Oh, they were feel like that universe was being pulled from all sides. And hopefully that won't happen in Star Wars. However, if there was an Obi-Wan movie to be made, this is how I would make it. The director, James Mangold, the director of Logan, has been being eyed for a Boba Fett movie. Now, this is before all of the previous news came out of Lucas, flip-flopping whether they want to do more anthology films or not. But, in my opinion, if they're already eyeing James Mangold for any project, they have him involved, they dropped his name, they name dropped him and all that. My thing is like, why not put him in the Obi-Wan movie? Because to me, that would be like the best fit of director to project. Why would I want James Mangold to take over the Obi-Wan movie? Why would I think that's a great fit? That is because I feel like a prequel of Obi-Wan, his time with Qui-Gon, him battling Xanatos, that's not movie worthy. That's cool for a show and a book and comics, stuff like that. That's cool. But an Obi-Wan movie, to me, the last thing we need to know about Obi-Wan is the time in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Now, we have seen some of that with Star Wars Rebels, obviously. We saw how that ended with Darth Maul and stuff. But to me, the perfect Obi-Wan movie would be right before Rogue One. Right before Rogue One would be the perfect place to set this movie. And how do you do a movie about a character that's, wandering the desert and in a way feels like he has nothing more to live for? You make it a Western. You know who's good at Westerns? James fucking Mangold. Logan's basically a Western. So in a way, you Loganize, you Mangold-nize the Star Wars universe. Obviously, a lot of the visuals from Star Wars already feel like a Western. Everything on Dantooine a lot of times feels like a Western. And I feel like you can lean into this a lot more, into a lot of these tropes, a lot of the visuals of how Westerns are, a lot of the wide shots in deserts. And another thing about Westerns is a lot of the later Westerns took a lot of inspiration from samurai films of the 1950s-ish. Who are a lot like samurais? Jedi, dog. To me, it just seems like a perfect fit if you get James Mangold that has those sensibilities to shoot those kind of movies in with the Obi-Wan. And as far as characters go, Obi-Wan has nothing to live for. And that's another thing in a lot of these westerns that you have is that the characters go on one last ride, like that movie that they quoted in Logan, Unforgiven. The character goes out on one last ride because he has nothing to live for, and that sense of inevitability of time just taking its toll on you, I feel like would fit really, really great with Obi-Wan, the character, at that stage in his life. Another reason is that Ewan McGregor is at the perfect age to play a slightly older Obi-Wan. He's got a little bit of that grayness coming in and stuff like that. He's a little bit more wrinkled than he was, was it 13 years ago since Sith came out. So to me, it's like, just a perfect fit of everything. Everything's culminating perfectly. Why not make this movie at this point? I know I said that anthology movies are not necessarily needed, but this is such a perfect fit that it would not make sense not to do it. So, these are some take it or leave it. This is not 100. Obviously, I'm not involved with the movie. Anybody who thinks that Disney's actually listening to me is a fucking moron, bro. I'm just a dude with his homeboys making some videos for YouTube because we just do this shit all day, so we might as well put it out for the world. This is my personal things that I would maybe care to see, and we could take some out, we could put some in. You guys can work it out in your brains. This is fun to me. I do this for my own personal amusement, but some things that I would like to see in the Obi-Wan movie would definitely be these. Definitely Ahsoka. We want to see a movie version of Ahsoka. Either get Rosario Dawson to play her. She looks perfectly like an older Ahsoka would, or you get Emily Blunt with her, blue eyes and stuff, looks a lot like Ahsoka as well. I want to see Ahsoka, and I want to see her last ride. If you get an Ahsoka, she would be the one that comes to Tatooine to get Obi-Wan, and the story beat would follow like this: Ahsoka comes to Tatooine like, yo, I'm setting up one last ride. Let's go murder Darth Sidious. And they go off. She has to convince him a little bit at first. You get some scenes in Tatooine with the Sand People and stuff like that. Yeah, you can do some of that stuff. And then, eventually she convinces Obi-Wan to take off with her and go on an adventure. This is where we hit the next beat of the story. You go to Jeddah. And this is pre-Rogue One. And I just rewatched Rogue One. Jeddah is like under war. In a way, even though it feels like the Empire already took Jeddah a long time ago and they're, mining for Kyber crystals, this would be the perfect reason why Empire tension is so high on Jeddah at the moment. Because shit went down during the Obi-Wan movie, which would take place right before Rogue One, maybe like a month before Rogue One, which I think would be cool. With Obi-Wan and Ahsoka traveling to Jeddah to find another member for their little ragtag team they're going to be putting together, you can have a little crossover with Chirrut and Mace and Saw Gerrera. Everybody we saw from Rogue One that maybe didn't get enough screen time, you can add them on to this movie. Now, my thing would be like, don't add all of them, either Chirrut and Mace or Saw Gerrera, just one, because you don't need that much fan service in this movie. This movie has to serve a story more than anything. Now, in Jeddah, Darth Sidious is privy of the plans that are, to take him out. He's kind of got his little spies and stuff. So I would like if he sent an Inquisitor or perhaps a Sith assassin after Ahsoka, and they finally face off in Jeddah and they fight him. He still doesn't know that Obi-Wan's with her. He doesn't even know where Obi-Wan was. He doesn't know that Obi-Wan's in Tatooine or anything like that. But he knows that shit is afoot. And now he sent the little assassin to get him. They end the assassin in Jeddah, obviously, with a cool action scene and stuff like that. Now, on Jeddah, this is another little add-on you people can agree or disagree with. I want to see Mace Windu. Yeah, you heard it right, Mace Windu. We know he got his arm cut off and he lost his lightsaber to the Emperor or, Darth Sidious in Revenge of the Sith. And he got, force lightning out of a window. So it would be cool to see him again with an arm, without an arm, with nothing to say that he's a Jedi. Just like full-on beard, kind of like Saw Gerrera. Full-on beard, fucked up afro, just different clothes, like he's a pirate or something. Just something completely different. And with a robotic arm, I think that would be cool to see. And I think that Samuel Jackson is also such a great such a great actor. It'd be a shame not to use him again, especially since he's been, campaigning so hard to play Mace Windu again. And I don't want to watch a Mace Windu movie, but it would be cool to watch him in a movie like this. Now from Jeddah, perhaps they go somewhere else to get something else, whatever. It's more about the journey that they're going through as people, getting ready for their end. That's important, not so much what they're actually doing. It'd be cool as, they gather people. Ahsoka gets Obi-Wan, then Ahsoka and Obi-Wan get Mace. That would be kind of cool. So, eventually they're going to go face off against the Emperor. So they stop off at one last stop. Now, by this time, the Emperor has gotten word that his Sith assassin is dead. So he's got no choice left but to send the one, the only, Darth Vader. So, if you like the little bit you got from Darth Vader in Rogue One, imagine him in a prolonged battle scene with another Jedi. Now, obviously, Darth Vader can't fight Obi-Wan, because I feel it's impactful for them to meet for the first time after mad years in New Hope. After, what happened in Sith, they meet in New Hope, and that's very impactful. So you should never touch that. The way you should do it is Obi-Wan and Mace and Ahsoka are ready to go face off against the Emperor, who is not filling Darth Vader in on all the details because he's the Emperor. He's always shady motherfucker like that. So, at this point in the movie, Ahsoka would be like, you know what? I'm gonna stay here and face Vader. Because they know Vader's coming. Through the Force or shit, they can sense Vader's coming. So, Ahsoka's like, I'm gonna stay here on this planet. Now, aesthetic-wise, this is where you would bring in the samurai movie aesthetic. Of, like the fields with the tall grass and the wind blowing. That I think would just be so cool to watch Ahsoka face off one last time against Vader, while Obi-Wan and Mace go off to face the Emperor. Vader and Ahsoka have their last little fight, a lot of dialogue, very cool, very impactful, and just the visuals of them fighting samurai style in like a beach or something. I just think that would be a really, really cool battle, and something we've never seen in the movies that I feel like a lot of the hardcore fans have always wanted to see is Ahsoka in a movie fighting Vader. Now, I know she fought him in Rebels, but ultimately she was saved because she jumped into like a time warp. It's complicated, and you don't need to address that in this movie. You just need to know that Ahsoka fights Vader, and obviously she loses. My opinion, Ahsoka should die this movie. That would make the movie get in your feels, like, oh shit, because this would be more toward the end. This would be like definitely third act situation. Vader faces Ahsoka, he kills her, done. You don't see no more of Vader. Now, Obi-Wan and Mace go up to face the Emperor. Now, the little bit of time we've had with Mace in this movie, you would go into the details of what happened with his lightsaber. He doesn't have his lightsaber anymore. Obviously he's been hiding out from the Empire, so he can't openly be a Jedi anywhere. Matter of fact, he doesn't use the Force anymore. He's cut himself off from the Force, much like Luke did in Last Jedi. And, he's been kind of working as a rebel all this time, kind of like a pirate-ish rebel type situation. In Revenge of the Sith, Mace Windu defeated the Emperor very fast, and everybody might be wondering how he do it. Well, he has a lightsaber fighting style called Vapad or Vapad. And it's a lightsaber style that not only involves the actual movements of the lightsaber, but also your use of the Force. And you need to be perfectly balanced in the Force. You need to stay in the light side of the Force, while at the same time being able to touch the dark side and channeling your attacker's dark side against them. Matter of fact, Mace Windu is the creator of the form, and he's the one who actually successfully used it the only time it's been used. So I would want to get into a little bit of the details of that in the dialogue and stuff like that, and have Obi-Wan ask him why he can't use Vapad anymore, or Vapad, and have Mace say something like, well, after the fall of the Jedi, I have been off balance. I can no longer use Vapad against the Emperor because I am not balanced. I cannot safely go into the dark side and touch the dark side without it taking over me. So I would just think that would be a cool metaphor for also the characters and where they're at. especially Mace. He's just so full of rage for what's happened to the Jedi. He's been hiding out all this time. So eventually they would face the Emperor. Mace would pull out a really cool move. He'll pull out of his arm like a lightsaber, but not really a lightsaber. Like one of those things that the Imperial Guards have, or like, you know, the red guys from Last Jedi, kind of like a, you know, a laser baton situation or whatever, electrified shock baton. Whatever those weapons are, I think it'd be cool if he had them. Because he lost his lightsaber, obviously, when Anakin cut his arm off. So I think that would be cool to watch him use. And eventually him and Obi-Wan would team up against the Emperor. And at some point, it would be cool to watch Mace just give in completely to the dark side. But by the Emperor just being so much better trained in the dark side, he eventually defeats him more easily than when he was embracing the light side, which I think would be cool. Eventually, I want the Emperor and Obi-Wan to face off completely against each other. I want Obi-Wan to wound the Emperor, and the Emperor basically has to go off and lick his wounds until Empire Strikes Back. That would be an explanation why he had nothing to do. You didn't see him at all in A New Hope, because the Emperor was off licking his wounds, and why he wasn't involved, because he was wounded. That, I think, would be a cool thing. Also, I would like the Emperor to, at some point, shoot so much Force lightning at Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan stop it with the Force so much, and it's such a strain on him, that it ages him about 10 years? Yeah. I know it's funny, but if you watch it and they pull it off right, that would be cool. Because Alec Guinness, the guy that played Obi-Wan in A New Hope, is so much older than what the timeline would tell that Obi-Wan would be. Because, you know, he was like 40-something in Sith, and then he's like 70-something in A New Hope, and only like, you know, 19 years passed in between. Makes no sense. But if he were strained, if he had used the Force so much that it like took a toll on his body, that would be a cool explanation. So another thing I would like to watch is Qui-Gon Jinn Force Ghost. Liam Neeson's still at an age where he can pull this off and be believable, and Qui-Gon is the one who basically rediscovered Force Ghost, so it would make sense for him to appear in the movie, guiding Obi-Wan. Now, at the end of the movie, with everything seeming to be lost, Qui-Gon could appear to Obi-Wan one more time, telling him, no, you did what you had to do. You've set everything in motion for what the future may hold. All you have to do now is go and watch over Luke, and he'll take it from here. And that would give you a reason why Obi-Wan is so confident with just teaching Luke the basics, and just like, look, man, just here, have this little bit of knowledge, you'll be cool. There could be an alternate version of this movie where the crew of the Ghost are the ones who are rolling with Obi-Wan. Drop it down in the comments, man, if you have any ideas. That'd be cool. I haven't watched Rebels like that, so I don't know Rebels like that, so I don't know how that would even work. That's why I didn't even attempt to make that version. But yeah, man, if you guys like this little rant of what my movie would be like, my Obi-Wan movie would be like, you guys just go ahead and drop a like. You want more content like this, nerdy content, geeky content, go ahead and subscribe, Dropping Loads, and check us out on Instagram, man. Dropping Loads and Ol Drunken Geek. Holla at you guys later. It's been sweet. ODG out.